flood of online destination content can often overwhelm travelers rather than simplify their trip planning. Our next company uses intelligent algorithms to offer customized itineraries and city guides. Please welcome Greg Solovyev of Citybot.
Hello everyone, my name is Greg Solovyev, this is Ilya Raikin, and together with Sergey Posner, who is here in the audience, we are the founders of Citybot, the intelligent travel guide. Now many companies, and some of them we've seen today, are making travel planning more social by letting you share your trips and letting you get recommendations from people you may know. But there is a bigger problem with travel planning than not being social enough, and that is travel planning takes a long time, a really long time. So Citybot makes travel planning faster, 100 times faster. To illustrate the problem, we're going to show you a recording of a user's desktop as she is trying to figure out her plan for one day in San Francisco. Now, Citybot is all about not wasting time. That includes yours. So we're going to play this recording at 50 times normal speed. And on top of this recording, we'll chart the path that this user is making through the web as she is figuring out her plan. So let's see, this should be pretty amusing. She starts with Google, of course. She goes to Frommer's. She goes back to Google. She finds the travel section of the Time magazine. And then she checks out the maps. Then she goes back to Google. She finds an attraction website. She goes back to the maps. She goes back to Google, of course. She finds another attraction website. And goes back to the search engine. Then she finds something on Wikipedia. And she goes back to an attraction website. And then she goes back to Google Maps. She finds another attraction website. She goes back to the search engine. Then she goes to Yelp to find a place for lunch. And back to Google, of course. And yet another attraction website. And back to the search engine. And yet another attraction website. And back to the search engine again. And she goes to Yelp to find a place for dinner until finally she has a list of a bunch of things that she wants to do in San Francisco. Now, I hear some people laughing already. So did this look like a simple and efficient process to you? No, it's a complete chaos. And it took her an hour. We all could have gone to a bar and had a beer in that time. And in fact, only 10% of travelers can plan an entire day in less than 30 minutes. What I want you to notice here is also that she did not book any attractions yet. And she may not ever come back to these websites to make a purchase. So clearly, there is a problem. So Citybot fixed this problem by using artificial intelligence. Citybot lets you create your own custom hour-by-hour itineraries. Hour-by-hour itineraries personalized for where you are, when you are, and what you want to do. Now that's a lot to process. And Citybot does that in less than 60 seconds. So let us show you how with our mobile app, you can plan your entire day in less than a minute. So let's say I'm in San Francisco for a couple of days for business meetings. And the day after my meetings, I roll out of bed at 10 a.m. and I have a whole day ahead of me. I want to go and explore the city. I open the app, I enter the time, I enter my location, I click next. Now, the app shows me what we call a smart summary. What is smart about this summary is that it contains only the places that are open today between 11 a.m. and 8 p.m. and only the places that are within a reasonable distance given my location, my modes of transportation, and how much time I have. So let's explore San Francisco. I want to have breakfast. And these are all kinds of restaurants that serve breakfast today in San Francisco. And some have been already selected for me based on my preferences. I also want to go see some landmarks. And I want to visit a museum or two. So today I don't want to see any fine art, but I do want to see science and technology museums. And I also want to do something outside. And maybe not the beaches because it's November in San Francisco and cold. I also have a friend in San Francisco who suggested that we should meet for dinner tonight at this very good Burmese restaurant called Mandalay. So I searched for this restaurant by name. and I just add it to the itinerary. Now this is the cool part. I click Next. Citybot is generating 3 different itineraries. Now these have not been selected from a database of pre-made one-size-fits-all itineraries. These have been created in real time based on my criteria. And I can compare them at a glance, and I can select the one I like. So let's look at the first one. Now, once again, this is a complete hour-by-hour itinerary. It starts with breakfast, then there's some attractions, then there's dinner with my friend, and on the way back, I'll see a landmark. What I want you to notice on the screen is that Citybot has made sure that I have enough time to get from one place to another, and that I have enough time to spend at each of these places, and that each of these places is open during this time frame. And of course, Citybot has selected the highest rated places. Well, I can also look at the map, and I can zoom in, and you can see that this is a nice path. Let's go back to the schedule. Now let's look at this breakfast place. Let's say I don't want to have breakfast here. Maybe I've been here before, I didn't like it. Citybot lets me replace this with an alternative that is nearby. And Citybot will make sure that my itinerary remains intact so that I still have enough time for everything else. Now let's look at the California Academy of Sciences as well. Here, Citybot has made sure that I get here by 1 p.m., which is when the tour starts. But not only that, I can also book this tour right here on my phone so that I don't have to stand in line. We have partnered with Viator, BeDynamic, and Tribune Media Services to let our users buy attraction passes, tours, event tickets, even movie tickets. But what is more important, that we're not going to bombard our users with any ads. Instead, we're integrating all this inventory directly into their travel plans so that the purchase is just a natural next step. Not only this is a much better user experience, but this is also a much more efficient sale funnel. So tell me, after seeing our app, can you ever go back to planning your trips the old way? Now, how does Citybot do all this? What just happened in the background was that using artificial intelligence in just a few seconds, our engine has analyzed a ton of data, prices, distances, timetables, ratings. From all this data, we have constructed the best possible itineraries. All this analysis has happened in the cloud, and the results were delivered right into my hands. Citybot lets me create my own personalized hour-by-hour itineraries, and it also integrates the sale of destination attractions right into my travel plans, creating a better user experience and dramatically streamlining the sale funnel. And guess what? There is a lot more that we can do with this technology, so we're just getting started. Our app is currently in private beta on iOS and Android and covers San Francisco. There are a few more features in our app for power users that we didn't have time to show you tonight, so please stop our booth and check out the app. We're planning to release to Android markets and Apple App Store early next year. And currently, we're raising funding to finance our launch and expand our coverage. And in closing, I want to thank the business development and the IT teams at Viator and BeDynamic for working with us on last-minute changes. Without you, this demo won't be possible. So, Citybot, plan your trips 100 times faster. Thank you.
So even if I had not read here in the book that you were an engineer, I would have figured that out. I love your app. I think it's terrific. And I think all the engineers in the audience will love it too, and out there in the marketplace. But I fundamentally disagree with your premise that it takes too long to plan holidays. Man, if you are in a dull job down at the DMV, spending 4 hours thinking about your trip to New York, that's the opiate of the masses. They want to spend 4 hours on it. They don't want to do it in 14 minutes. They want to lose themselves in that travel planning process. They love the chaos of it. They love the fact that they're just going to go all over the web finding that stuff. I just totally disagree, except for guys like you.
So what I want to answer to this is that there are two parts to the travel planning process. There's one part that you really enjoy, which is dreaming and figuring out what you want to see. Then there is this other part where you figure out the logistics. And that is just a drag. And this is where we help.
Yeah, I agree with Rod. I think the searching and the planning is part of your travel process, and you need to go through that. I think your application was very interesting, but I would not use it because I don't want a mobile application to tell me how to organize my day. Like, I want to do that myself. And the other thing is, how relevant is your database? Because if what you come up with is very relevant, then it might be useful, but I'm not sure because we haven't seen it in your application. The good news is I think you can reuse everything you've done and just change the UI in the process and do it differently, and it still has a lot of value. Good idea to match your shirt with the background of your slide. That was kind of cute.
Real quick, I also agree. I don't think time spent necessarily equals pain. I think that living in San Francisco, I can tell you definitively you cannot get in 20 minutes from some of the places, parking, driving, impossible. And there's an assumption that for some people, 40 minutes at the Conservatory of Flowers is like 40 minutes too long, and for others it's 3 hours too little. So I think there is a bold assumption you make about how long you should spend, and the travel logistics are not conducive to realities of traffic and rush hour and everything else. I would think that'd be something you have to look into.
I just tweeted that Citybot is cool. And it's not for me. I'm built for comfort, not speed. I'm a blues song. But there's plenty of people out there of the short attention span theater variety for whom this will work well. And I think over time, you'll figure out what the positioning is and the marketing is. So, resist the temptation to respond to everything from these guys. It's cool. It's cool. Accept that and figure out some of the criticisms and take it to the next level.
Thank you. Just quickly to your question, we actually have the ability to customize these things. So if you think you need more time in a place, you can change that and we'll morph the itinerary around it.
I agree with Gene, though. I see the shred of some really cool stuff there. So keep working on it.
Thank you.